Hello lads and ladies, and welcome back for another video on the channel. September, which means one thing, the start of our monthly League 2 check-ins. Now, every month we're going to go through different things, the results, the table. We're here today with my good mate, Jack Kershaw. How are we, JK? You okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. It's nice to have the football back, and actually it feels like this month has gone really quick. I mean, to have 6 games, and we've had a few cup games.
Looking forward to getting into it. Now, in today's video, we are going to go through the league table so far. 6 games in, Tranmere Rovers and Accrington Stanley have only played 5 games due to Burton Albion Tranmere being off. Where Cheltenham Town sit bottom of the pile, Jack. Just the 1 point for them. Normally, they are slow starters when it comes to league starts over the last few years. However, that point did come on last Friday away at Salford in a 1-1 draw. Could have been all 3, but for a Kadeem Harris 93rd minute equaliser. Flynn, again, is being questioned, isn't he? Because they're not a great proposition right now.
No, but I mean, it's good that obviously Cheltenham fans see about, the faults that lie with the director of football and the running of the club. So, it doesn't all fall back on Michael Flynn, because I think going into the start of the season, the summer business was a bit naff. I mean, he picked it up now with Isaac Hutchinson. He got him on loan. Ethan Archer, they've been able to have back till January. I think James Wilson, he got decent experience, but then you look outside of that, there's not much going for him. Cheltenham weren't keen last season, but I think this season will probably be much worse off.
They've conceded 12 goals in the 6 games, scored twice. Minus 10 goal difference already is pretty horrific after 6 games of the league season. Cheltenham, I put in my bottom 4. I thought would struggle this year. I'd really thought that there'll be a relegation battle. And this has been coming for so many years. Poor recruitment on and off the pitch, selling key players, the likes of Rob Street, Alfie May, people in positions that they shouldn't be at that football club is going to end one way. Shrewsbury Town also have the same record, 12 goals conceded. For me, a concern for them is the back 3, Boyle, Anderson, Stubbs. Look solid at the back as a League 2 pairing, but they're all middle of the road. They are kind of no-nonsense centre-backs. There's no one really in that squad that really stands out to me. Tom Anderson's 32. He got kind of drove out at Doncaster in the end. Boyle's 30. Stubbs is, I think, 26, but struggled with injuries. Did impress at Cheltenham last year, but we're talking about Cheltenham, who are bottom of the Football League pyramid here. He's impressing there in the middle of the road League 2 football club last year that are stumbling. This is what Shrewsbury are now. And we often talk about clubs that have come down, they're behind. Shrewsbury had a disastrous season last year. They went through 3 managers. Michael Upson got the job eventually, kind of after the season. It eventually got announced. It felt like they were 6 or 8 weeks behind playing catch-up, and that is hard. If they go 10, 12 games in, you're catching up. We learned that at Fleetwood in League 1. Didn't win for the first 9 games of the season. You're then relying on getting points from 37 games. People say, yeah, it's still a long way to go when you've not got a quality squad. There are young players. I like Taylor Perry, John Marquis, but other players I just don't see stepping up. Crawley Town, Jack, coming down from League 1. They're struggling in League 2. Again, one of those sides like Shrewsbury, they come down. People expect teams that have come down from the league above to compete, but they're not really that, are they? Because they have got a limited budget. Scott Lindsay is kind of relying on miracles again.
I mean, they're a small club, but they're a bit of a wacky club. Like, some of the decisions that they make and some of the business that they do, it is a bit, not bizarre, but I think a bit out there from Crawley. But although, they sit 22nd so far, they've only got 2 points. I watched them on the opening day against Grimsby. Grimsby were head and shoulders above Crawley. But then after that, you look at the stats and you think, well, they picked up a bit and they started creative more, but ultimately in some games they haven't scored as much. They've been letting goals in. So, yeah, I think for Crawley, it looks like they've got a good manager in Lindsay, but then was he, because he was punching above his weight the first time, is he going to be able to do it the second time? You don't really see it getting above top half, and sometimes you might have in the back of your mind, Scott Lindsay's been a promotion winner, but that was a one-off for him. He went at MK Dons last season and ultimately got sacked, where maybe he feels that he's actually done. But then they have got Cheltenham next, so I think the 3 points could be very near for Crawley, but for sides at the bottom, you don't want to make it wait for ages.
I agree with you, and Accrington Stanley will be saying that. They've got Cheltenham away on Saturday in what feels like a 6-point already. It's just the 3 league goals scored so far. Tyler Walton only scoring the 3 goals so far, which is a worry. They've lost Ben Woods, which is a loss. You always feel Accrington Stanley are going to be down there. One thing I'll point on, they've had 5 games so far. They've only lost 2 of those 5 games. So they might not have quality to win the games that they're drawing, but they're finding a way to pick up a point. Away at Shrewsbury at the weekend, home to Grimsby, home to Gillingham. And look, they've lost away at Salford and they lost away at Crewe. They're 2 sides that you would, if you're in the top 7, top 10 race, you wouldn't really bat an eyelid, let's be honest about it. It's going to be difficult without Andy Holt there, a bit of a changeover. And sometimes you see with changeovers, things happening at football clubs, things can happen. But I certainly hope from my perspective that Accrington can sort it. And as for Newport, just the 1 win earlier this season away at Crawley. They always are slow burners. Last year, they were very patchy. David Hughes has come in, a young coach, experience as a coach, but first real managerial role. I look through the squad and I don't really see where, goals are going to come from. If I'm honest with you, I don't really see a focal point. I feel other teams have got better players in them. They've got Bristol Rovers, Tranmere, Gillingham to come before a trip to Chesterfield. I think in the month of September, you could see Newport slip and slide. Oldham Athletic, Jack, managed by Mickey Mellon, one of the few teams that we've got one of the few teams we've seen live so far this season. Expected goals suggests that they should be 7th in the table. They've created a lot of opportunities. They came to Highbury and had 22 shots. They have able to sign Michael Mellon, the son of Mickey Mellon, and hopefully he's not just a bring your son to work day. He's going to hopefully bag some goals. I think he's shown at this level for Morecambe he can score goals. My issue with Oldham, they're playing well, not winning. It's not always going to play well. I suggest that there'll be times where they don't play well, but they'll probably pick up 3 points because that is the nature of football, isn't it?
They've dominated the game, or they've had a lot of chances, but they just haven't been able to get that first win. And I think they'll probably find themselves unlucky when they came to Fleetwood, because on another day they could have been 4 or 5-0 up, especially with the chances that Fondop had, and there's controversy that he should have had a goal really in the second half. The problem is we're bringing his son in. Is he going to keep fit? That's what happened. I think he was at Stockport, and then obviously he got injured early on, and he went to Bradford. I don't think he played as much as he wanted to. They've got an experienced bunch in that side, and they've got a few young players. But I just look at the bench, and I think the starting 11's good. Then if you look at players to bring on, I think he's a bit minimal, and the quality won't be as good as what they want it to be.
I think that win's coming. I think you could see with Oldham when maybe we get 1 win, they might get a couple of wins. They're also welcoming back to the Football League. It's just it's taken a bit of time. I think in a lot of games, I think the game against Colchester, they probably deserved to win that game of football. The Fleetwood game, I thought they were the better side per se. Barrow are, I would say, middle of the road League Two football club and team at this moment in time. They've got plenty of forward options, the likes of Kane Hemmings, Tyler Walker, Reece Healy signed, but he'll always be out injured. I think he's out injured already. Josh Gordon comes back. I think he scored 22 goals across 2 seasons. He bagged 15 in 22-23. Tom Barkhusen will add a bit of width. They're playing a 3-back. I don't think that really suits them. I don't think they've got the players to play a 4 for the way they've recruited. That's the only thing I will say. I think they're going to be low possession, low block and counter-attack. A typical performance like they got away at Colchester. Colchester United, Jack. Same old story this early season for Colchester. You're talking, they've won 1 in 6. They've only lost 2 in 6. They've scored 6. They've only conceded 7. They're drawing a lot of games, aren't they? And we often talk about Danny Cowley loves a draw. He loves a 1-1 draw. Well, he got 1 against Tranmere. He got 1 against Oldham. And he's got 1 against Barnet. He just loves a 1-1 draw.
It looked like they were a bit unlucky against Barnet, because it looked like, that would have been a good win on the road for them. And then Barrow, they dominated the game, had 24 shots, had most of possession, but I think that's sort of the flip side. Then Barrow are going to that game and, getting a good win on the road. And I think this Colchester side, has a lot of quality. We saw it last season when they didn't get off to the best start, but we sort of knew that the quality that the side had. For sides like Colchester, if it is a repeat of last season, great. But I think what they need to do is obviously learn from the mistakes, actually start winning game earlier than what they did. Because I think they went on that drawing streak, and if in the first half of the season they just turned even 2 of the draws into wins, they could have sneaked in the playoffs.
It's fine margin football. If you can just find a bit of quality in a dull game and a 1-1 game, just win 2 of them. And I say this all the time, I think Cheltenham season before last drew 20 games. And all I was asking, I went, just turn 6 of those into wins. You got 12 extra points and you're in the playoffs. It doesn't feel right talking about this team without Jake. Bristol Rovers came up from, I feel like I've let him down there. Bristol Rovers came down from League One, and it was a slow start against Harrogate. Harrogate had 9 touches of the ball in their box, 1-1-0. Fleetwood defensively first half, they were all over the place. Second half, better, but didn't really test the goalkeeper enough. Chesterfield away, they got battered by a really good side, and you saw a side that are progressing through the league that know the division now, second year, progressive. Bristol Rovers are kind of getting to grips with it. New style, new manager. Everything's kind of new for them, whereas for Chesterfield, they're in a better place. They're advanced beyond the years. Good win against Cambridge, 1-0. Backing up away at Grimsby, 1-0. I'm not being disrespectful, but I think it was a perfect time to play Grimsby 3 days after beat United, absolutely knackered on the feet, but do a proper away performance. And they've got Newport to come with Barrow after that. They'll be thinking if they can go and get 4, if not 6 points out of that, back-to-back wins, they can progress up that table. My issue with them is not really having enough shots per game on target, and they're not really testing the goalkeeper enough when they've got the ball. Barnet, 2 wins from the first 6, slow start, but got those wins under the belt. A little bit slow start like Oldham were. The Fleetwood game, they lost 2-0, backing it up with a 2-0 defeat to Bromley, but both of those two sides have started well. Walsall, a playoff finalist, but to go away at Swindon and win by 2-0, I think shocked so many people. And, especially how good they've been under Holloway and going away at Cheltenham. Look, everyone's beating Cheltenham at this moment, but they beat those two with 2 good clean sheets on the road. And I think Dean Brennan will get things right. Harrogate Town, constantly inconsistent, Jack. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 8 points on the board. They got some good victories in the month of August. They beat Barrow at home, beat Bristol Rovers away. Both of those scorelines 1-0. What was it about Colchester? Typical games that would peter out for a 0-0, but they found a way to score a goal, keep hold of it, get the extra 4 points on the board from those 2 victories. That I think Simon Weaver and Harrogate Town will be delighted with the start.
Yeah, definitely, because Harrogate last season they had a really good season. I thought, even though they didn't get to that top half spot, I think he's finished in the top half from 23-24. And last season, it was 18th, but he's still a side that just still going about the business in League Two, and being a proper League Two outfit. Hard to beat, at home. You pick up wins, and even away at Cambridge in August, he had 4 shots. Cambridge had 16, but they held on for a draw. It's not like they're winning games 1-0, because then they can draw games 3-3. And Grimsby have been a good side so far this season, and so far it looks like a season where Harrogate can still maintain themselves. Be tough to beat, but on the odd game they can fly forward and hurt teams. At the start of the season, I wouldn't say naff the recruitment, but it was a bit unknown because they've signed Sean Mikulski from the National League. Reece Smith, I think, is also one who's come to the National League. Yeah, I think it's coming too for Harrogate. If they could maybe even get a top half finish this season.
I think Harrogate suit League Two football. I think they scrap for every point, battle 50-50s, fine margin football,
Small pitch,
small pitch, make it their own area. And I think that's what they do so well. I think that Harrogate just suit this division. They are what League Two's all about in a way. And I mean that with every credit. That is not a dig at all. They are League Two, where you are thinking when you play them, get out of the way, and frustrated. And, I jump up and down and move up and down the stand as it
He
is.
does a lot.
I was up and down like Tigger the other day, like, because we didn't get a throw in. Harrogate, you are frustrated. And that is full credit to them as a football club, genuinely.
I think probably the only thing Harrogate is if what happens, when Simon Weaver goes. Being manager since 2009, having 749 games, he brings massive experience into the club, and every credit to him. Obviously, his dad owns it, so the longer Simon Weaver's in charge, I think the longer Harrogate can stay in the Football League.
I'd love to see if Simon Weaver could play his trade anywhere else. Like John Coleman, he never really did it anywhere other than Aki. He's left. He's gone to Gillingham.
And Gareth Ainsworth.
To be fair, Gareth Ainsworth, though, I thought did quite well at QPR for a year, kept him up. I think he won away at Burnley.
I think it was 2-1 or something like that. Yeah,
he definitely won. He had a few bad results towards the end of it, but let's be honest, it's always going to happen. Like when Sir Alex left Man United. Because I know what that sounds absolutely mad. You are losing a manager that has been your manager for 6. I don't think it'll happen. Harrogate to Notts County, 2 different football clubs of 2 different sizes, of 2 different playing styles, of 2 different recruitment styles. I think the name on everyone's lips when it comes to Notts County right now is Matty Dennis, who, to be fair, I think he got 6 and 14 last year. So he's scored 11 in 20 games. It'll be interesting to see kind of what route they go. Martin Patterson's come in. Asian battle, he might have that at Notts. I think that if got given time, it'd be interesting to see where Notts are. There's been some good results. I think that result against Shrewsbury at home was definitely a standout in August. Bromley at home frustrating, but Bromley are like Harrogate again. But a great result away at Tranmere. That really impressed me after a slow start, drawing to Newport, losing to Salford at home, losing to Barrow. They've responded quite well, I thought. So as we progress into the top half of the table, if you're still with us here, please give us a like. Tranmere Rovers started well last year. They won 2 and drew 2 of the first 5. They've lost 1 of their first 5. Which actually did come on Saturday at the expense of Notts County. Amari Patrick started the season well, 4 goals, 2 assists from kind of that attacking role that he plays. I feel that Andy Crosby did a really good job at the back end of last year. My challenge to him was go and do it now over a full season. You see these managers come in, make a bit of an impact, to then the following season it fades away. Matt Hamshaw at Rotherham, for example, came in, got a few results as an interim, knew the club, and I think that the way that Tranmere were, they were so intense, and that's where they are. And I feel like there's a good feel-good factor around the club. Some good pickups, I like the signing of Nathan Smith. Richie Smallwood adds experience. You've added 2 promotion winners of last year into a squad that were in the bottom 6 that had a bad morale. All of a sudden, it seems a different football club entirely. Salford City, Jack, won 3 of their first 6.
Well, one of the losses was against Crewe, and I watched them on the opening day too, Salford and Crewe, and Crewe was just an absolutely different animal. Salford were the most intense team last season in terms of metrics, the PPDA and high recoveries, and Crewe just totally flipped it. It was like you were watching Salford the way Crewe played. But then they went to Notts County, won there. Accrington at home, it's a standard win, which you expect Salford to do. We know that they're not shy of a few bobs. So if they're ever in doubt in even January, they'll be able to add. So yeah, I think that so far they've done well. You got Tranmere at home, Shrewsbury away, and then Swindon at home. If you want to be a side that's in the playoffs, you want to go to facing them sides that could be mid-table, and you want to try and get 7 points.
So Cambridge United started quite well, to be fair. From Brophy for England, scoring some goals. Doesn't score many, does the man. But for me, I think they'll be very good at home. 7 points picked up at the Abbey so far this term. Neil Harris coming back to the football club back end of last year. A job too much. But already hit the 10-point marker after their first 6. He let go of Ryan Loft, who's gone on loan to Crawley, and I think that speaks volumes about both football clubs, where they're at, if I'm honest with you. Signing in Cameron Kouassi, I think that we saw quality from his brief time at Salford City. Fleetwood Town, after 6 games, have won 3, got 11 points on the board under Pete Wild. A disastrous home game against Crewe. But other than that, some good wins over the Bristol Rovers at home, away at Barrow at the weekend, and an opening day victory at Barnet. Point at Bromley, also not great against Oldham. I don't think we've seen a brilliant 90-minute performance from Fleetwood yet, but what we have seen is a will to win, experience, squad depth is there now, and it almost feels there's a platform for Fleetwood to go and build this year, Jack, under Pete Wild.
Yeah, hopefully. I think, you look at the start of the season, Barnet was probably the perfect away game you could have asked for against Barnet. Sky Sports cameras were there for Barnet, coming into the Football League, but then, we did a job. I watched Crewe before and they were good, but, I didn't expect it to be that good. But, yeah, we were very, very poor against Crewe. Like I say, we've got the squad depth. Hopefully, we can grow into the season, and in the winter months, hopefully we can be on top, in sort of the form table. And so I'm still excited about the season. I think we probably even could have got more points than what we have done. But, I'll definitely take it. And hopefully in this next month, we'll be able to continue a decent spell.
Pete Wild's sides always start well till about February. So I'm a bit worried to get too excited right now. But I think this is the best team Pete Wild's ever had. Grimsby started well, a great cup win over Manchester United, but that's in the League Cup. Started well, the likes of Kahori, Green in midfield, proving the worth. Cabia up front. 3 goals so far for that man. Coming in from Truro, scored a lot of goals in the non-league system. And as you look at it, they are the team that you feel are going to go and do something. Yes, they got the first defeat on Saturday, but you feel like they are going to go and back it up more regularly. They have got a tough run of games, actually. MK Dons away, followed by Cambridge at home. Got to then go to Barnet before hosting Cheltenham. I feel that if they can go and get a point at MK Dons, if they went there and won, that is a statement. For me, after 6 games is the period where it's not early on. Well, it is still early on, but it's not form now. You can go and make statements and it can go and kick you on. If you go away to a big ground or a big team that are going to be up there and win, people start talking about you. Yeah, we've got a good 18, good 19, good 20 now. If we can keep them fit, we've got a chance. And yeah, I just want to have some excitement about Fleetwood Town. MK Dons lost at the weekend to Walsall, who are our next team after MK Dons that we're going to discuss. Overall, started well, 11 points from the first 6. They started quite decently last year to a degree, not as well as this. Paul Warren's come in, lots of new signs. When you look at the 11th, they've signed front 3, Hepburn Murphy, Patterson, Mendes, Lang, all came in this summer. Gilby, Kelly were there. Collar's come in to the team recently in midfield. And then the right back, John Mellish, has come in, and then Ekpateta has come in. So the bulk of the team are new signings, so it's going to take time. It was a proper away performance. So all the momentum is with MK Dons. Walsall score with a tiny bit of momentum they have, and they win 1-0. And that's the only issue with MK Dons. They have this now and again blip at home where someone can go and beat them 1-0 or 2-0. And it's even more so away from them. You think MK Dons at home, you can get at for the way they play. And it's very interesting to see what's going to happen at MK Dons this year. They're still dominating the ball. They're dominating the ball this year, though, instead of trying to play that way, because I think they're better than the other team. What about Walsall, who went there to MK Dons and won? I felt they had to get off to a good start. Otherwise, let's be honest, Matt Sadler's life could have been cut short at Walsall, let's be honest. Started quite well.
Yeah, like I say, I think, it was needed on the back of last season. And I think, yeah, like you say, Warrington's decent. Like I say, Walsall needed to have a good start to what happened last season. And you look at the players, Vincent Harper's energetic player on the left. Aaron Presley, I think, had a decent spell at Barrow. I think people were laughing at the signing, but if Barrow were interested to get him back, it's still kind of doesn't speak volumes about the player, but it shows that he's not bad, that the club he was at just for 4 months wanted him back. They haven't done anything outstanding yet, not as they were doing at the start of last season, but this is a Walsall that have had some of the best players took off him, and they've recruited some in the National League and in other leagues, and it'd be interesting to see what they do for the September, because if they keep this momentum, it's not going to be as strong as they were last season, but it's strong enough to keep them in the playoff places.
Yeah, agree with you there. Excitement we used previously earlier in the video, Jack, about Grimsby Town. Swindon Town are just that. They are going to be goals for fun. They've scored 11, they've conceded 8. They are vintage Ian Holloway. You know the way they're going to play. They are going to be free-flowing, attacking football. Gavin the Switch Kilkenny. They've got Tom Nichols. They've got Oldacre. They've got Glatzel, Drinian. They've Smith, who's out injured at the minute. They've got Palmer. They've got Tabor. They've got so many forward options, and even at the back, good options. Connor Ripley in goal. Will Wright, the centre half, with a great goal in the cup the other night. The owner was so hated like you wouldn't believe. It still is. There's still protests and there's still things going on. But Ian Holloway, by getting the results on the pitch, the noise about the owner is still there. Don't get me wrong. But it's just been silenced a little bit because the focus is with, tell you what, this team is doing something and it's making the people of Swindon proud again.
The first goal against Shrewsbury, playing out from the back, one touch, and then they got there in about 6 passes. Against Crewe, they got there in 6 passes from back to front. And, Oldacre, it looks like he's playing in the 10. Nichols more of a box-to-box, and it's working. I think Oldacre was a decent player at Chesterfield, playing slightly further back, but, was doing well. Ian Holloway really liked Joe Snowden, who he's brought in at right wing back. Holloway's football gets going. They are a really attractive side to watch, and he loves having a lot of strikers, and bringing Ollie Palmer to the club, I think, is a good statement, because although they don't like the owner, which is fair enough, they do bring some really, really good high quality players into the club for League Two standards. Said that they're not the finished article, but there's still glimpses of what they can build on, and the momentum that they can take into this new month, and think we've done this before, so let's keep on doing it, and let's play an attractive front-footed football, which obviously Holloway's always known to have.
Swindon remind me a lot like Blackpool when they went up under Holloway. They had a lot of strikers then. They had literally, Swindon have got nine people that can play up front. Crewe, some of the football they play is absolutely sublime. What do you reckon of it this year? Because they started well last year, Jack. They're always going to have a young squad, a smallish squad, to be fair to them.
Yeah, Crewe obviously is well stated. They've got one of the lowest budgets in the league, and I mean, even on Tuesday they won 7-1. I know Chesterfield have basically the B team out. I think the only thing to criticise Crewe with how intense they are they going to keep it up for a 46-game season? Lee Bell's side last season, they were second in January, went all the way down to 13th or 14th.
They got away with it to Walsall, didn't they?
Yeah, in the 23-24 season, they also, I think it went to the final day to score playoffs or something like that. They were up there with Pete Wiles Barrow, and it just feels like, is this going to happen again with Crewe? So far, like Holloway's football, when it gets going, it's really good to watch, and off the ball, Crewe are as intense as what they are with the ball, and with these young players, and they've got quality in there. I think Josh Marks was a bit of a naff signing at first, but then you look at what he can bring to Crewe's side. He's assisting more than he's scoring, but he's been involved in 5 goals, and it's even his work rate and all also running the channels and linking up play, what he can offer. And then they've also got Emre Tezgel, who's really highly regarded at Stoke. So good start for Crewe, good players in there. The full use of the academy, young squad, but it's just that again they need them experienced faces within the group to obviously keep them going. And
Bromley are one or 2 clubs yet to lose this season. 3 wins, 3 draws. What do I say? If you don't win, don't lose. They've been perfect at home pretty much. 2 wins out of 3. They've only drawn 1, conceded 2 goals at home. That was in the same game to Fleetwood. testament to how good they are at home at Hayes Lane. It's going to be a difficult place to go this season. They went to Notts County and got a point. They went to Cheltenham and won, beat Barnet at home, went to Shrewsbury and got a result. So for me, they've had a really good start to the season. They beat Harrogate at home. I'm not being disrespectful when I say this, but Barnet and Cheltenham at home, when you are Bromley and you want to progress, they are 2 games. You would, and Fleetwood, you'd probably say, let's get 7 points out of those. 7 points out of 9. You look that's what they probably, if they were spread out on like match week 1 at home, match week 10, and your 20th home game, you'd say that'll be a good return from that home game. But they've done it, so you deserve full credit. But then a point away at Notts County is a Brucey bonus point, and they've been really solid going away at Cheltenham. Full credit. Andy Woodman is like Simon Weaver. You make it frustrating. It's a battle. It's a tight ground. There's not much wriggle room, and you go there and you think, you don't really want to go inside the ground. You don't even want to play against them, and you think that's testament to how they are. Michael Cheek up front, 10 goals in 6 games. Chesterfield are second. I think a lot of people expected them to be up there. The addition of Ryan Stirk in midfield has proven to be a good one. Dobber out on the right. He scored 3 goals already. Dylan Duffy, the star man, made in the sheer, already got 5 goal contributions. He's been given game time and he's been able to show his quality. What I like about Chesterfield is they were really bright at the start of the year last year. They got a lot of injuries in November, December, January time. And then I think we did a roundup in about March. And we said about Chesterfield, their fixtures, and they just won a couple. Like, I think they won 2 and then went, they could get playoffs. And they got playoffs, didn't they? With a kind of final 3 or 4 games. And when they beat us, and I thought they're 4 points off still with 4 games to go. I thought it could be a big ask. But they bought Mark Handy and Berry, who were in their team for the first half of last year. Both left. Mark Handy went back to Blackburn, went on loan to Leyton Orient. Berry left for Wickham. And both found themselves back in Chesterfield's team. They've got really good forward options. I'm really liking Paul Cook's side this year. I think they're going to be up there. Talking of up there, top of the league, Jack, Gillingham. Gareth Ainsworth Gills. They're not playing too well. They're getting over their line. They've won 3 of the 4 games 1-0. I think there's 15 games unbeaten under Gareth Ainsworth. I think there's 17 unbeaten before he even came in. He's not lost a league game in charge. They are turning the games that they would draw into wins, finding a way to win scrappy games. I love Gareth Ainsworth. It's rock and roll football. Gills are going up, baby. We are 6 games in. Let's calm down. Every year, after 6 games, Gills are top.
I think he's lasting.
I do think this is their best chance.
But, like you say, it's a bit of a spitting image of last season, but you think now, you are... I mean, Mark Bonner, I think, is a good manager, but now you've got a better manager. Now you've got a manager who built something for a long while at Wickham and succeeded, and so far it has been, tight margin football, which we expect with Gareth Ainsworth. But then the calibre of players he can bring to the club, Sam Vokes, he scores off a set piece against Oldham, that's vital to win away at home. And, that's a classic Gareth Ainsworth sort of victory, bringing on a experienced focal point in Sam Vokes and, winning in that fashion.
It's scrappy. It's scrappy.
Yeah.
50-50s, the duels, the games are tight. It's normally first goal wins, and it's fine margin football, and it's a battle. It's a war, and it's lower league footballers, and he gets it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true because Gillingham have had 3 1-0 wins. They've drew 1-1 twice. Both were away from home, and they've scored a few in the last minutes. They've got that belief to go, in the last few minutes and try and nick something. But then, they can not upset, but they can have surprise wins like a 4-1 win at home against Chesterfield. So I'm excited to see what Gillingham can build this season, because I think the owners have sort of reflected on what they've done in the past few years, and they kind of know that you need to build something in football and not just chop and change managers.
Are you all right? You need to put 50p in your meat. You've gone dark.
Have you not noticed that?
How dark are you?
It's because in the kitchen. Yeah, it's because I'm in the kitchen. Different with Ainsworth, you can create a good environment, and hopefully it does work out for them, and they don't keep chop and change the managers.
One thing I will say is I love it. I love Gareth Ainsworth. I love his style. I love his mantra. And I think that he's perfect for Gillingham. I think they've had 5 years of probably longer than that of, and he gets it, he connects with them. And people say it's not sustainable. I get that. They will eventually find a way not to win games or they'll lose games of football. They will. They're not going to win every game 1-0. But I think often enough they'll win enough games 1-0. Are they going to do it every week? No. Will they do it 15, 20 times a season? Why not? If you do it for 20 times a season, that's 60 points. Draw 10, 70 points. You should get in the playoffs like that. So there will be days where they'll score more, then there will be days where they're not maybe as good, but find a way. And one thing I love about it, everyone that I spoke to that Gillingham have beaten is like, they're not even that good. They beat us 1-0. We were the better side. Who won? Gillingham got 3 points. They found a way to win. Last year, they were finding a way not to win and they were drawing.
It's because they got a tenacious manager.
Yeah.
That's one word I describe Ainsworth.
And are they pretty? No. Are they effective? Yeah. They're typical League Two. Like, they are League Two, and we'll see a bit more quality from them. They have lost Jabode, which obviously is a young player, raw talent. So much for watching today's video. Jack, thank you for joining me, mate.
No, it's been good to have a monthly roundup. I think it's been fresh to come back to League Two to see teams with new ideas and new gaffers and new recruitment, and hopefully when we do a next roundup or roundup at the end of the season, Fleetwood are top of that league.
Yeah, I think the most exciting, I think the most debatable thing there is I'm going to invite you back on again. It might be kind of like the academy lab when you've got no left back. You have to fill in for a month.
If Jake Tong is coming back on COS Vlogs, I am coming back on COS Vlogs.
Jake gets regular work, mate. That's the standard of League One. That's what Jake gets. I'm on with him in 15 minutes to do the League One one. Well, thank you very much. I will leave Jack's links down below. Until next time, I will see you later. Leave a like, subscribe. We'll be here every month for League Two. Thanks for watching.